So this is a video that I wanted to do anyway, and I was just listening to Learning to Lose episode 130 of Digital to Dice, and I'm 22 minutes into it right now, but I can have that going in the background while I'm doing some other things that I also have to get started on and get finished with. But I just wanted to take a little break from things and just, I don't know, the time had come. Plus, the wife just left a few minutes ago, so I don't have to worry about, I don't know, noise disruption and taking this room away from her while I'm doing a video. Anyway, um, so the last video that I did as well, because this kind of has to do with that also, is the Game 7 Stanley Cup semifinal 1963 between Montreal and Detroit. And I want to zoom out a little bit on that. And okay, you can see the desk space. Anyway, whatever, it is what it is. Uh, so um, I shouldn't have expected that Montreal would win that, although they were up 3-2 in the series. It was a close series. I like series that are close no matter who wins it. Game sevens are fun. I think pretty unanimously that hockey fans and sports fans, I think, fans of the playoffs in any sport would agree with that. Any playoffs in which there is a best of seven series or something like that. But uh, I wanted to sort of hockey guy style, old school hockey guy style, because now when he does his videos, he has everything already written out on the whiteboards. But when he started out, he would actually just have an empty whiteboard. He still does it from time to time for certain things. And he would actually write out the names and the information as he was going on some of his older whiteboard videos. But I thought what I would do actually, and I wanted to do this unrehearsed and unscripted, though that'll probably make it a little unnecessarily long, but just go through and look at sort of the history in the past 2.5 years of replaying games since I got back into it, and how Montreal has done, basically, as a Habs fan, how the Canadians have done, because you would think, historically speaking, you would think that Montreal would win a lot more often than they do. But so I got back into playing hockey games, and I started to do at first doing what I'm doing now, which is trying to design my own game. I have probably technically coming up on 10 different hockey game designs, which sounds ridiculous, but bear in mind when I say that, a lot of them, it's like, again, these are all unfinished games anyway, and something like game number 6 is like game number 4 plus game number 2. That's sort of like different games borrow from different. Even with my current one, I will borrow some things from Impact Play Hockey, which is the closest thing I have to a complete hockey game so far. But I basically realized, wow, this is going to take more than weeks and more than months, and it's been 2.5 years. So I started playing. I was going to do a complete full season replay of Paradise Hockey 1963-64 NHL season. I should specify with Paradise. There are some other leagues as well. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it's pretty safe to say, given how Montreal was faring in that one, that they were not going to win it. They did not win in real life in 64 anyway. Toronto did. I'm not sure who would have won this one, and I might actually go back to it. I have a video here where I did go back to it for a game or so, but I haven't I haven't been back to it since. So there was that. There's Paradise, and then after that, it was there's a game in between, but I only really ever played a game of it. But then there was a shootout. Finally, I decided to go ahead and get shootout. And with the G-top teams, the G-top meaning the great teams of the past, those sets, I took 6 of the top teams from sets 1 and 2. I think they all came from set 1, actually. And again, these were all NHL teams. These are all NHL teams in the shootout great teams of the past set. And what I did was what I called the League of Champions and Presidents. And LOCAP, I think it's the acronym, but anyway, League of Champs and Pres. So this one here, maybe what I'll do is just put a check mark. Montreal, in season 1 anyway, so maybe I should specify there, S1, season 1. Montreal actually won the championship, although it was the 77 Canadians, because again, great teams of the past. But Boston, the 71 Bruins did extend them to Game 7 overtime, and the Bruins were up 3-2 in that series. So it really looked like, and I was, as I was playing through, I was already, because I'm sure other people do this as well. I even had these storylines that I was developing in my head about, season two, Montreal revenge, because Montreal finished like 16-6-2. I do a 24 game season and for this league. And yeah, they finished first, but then it looked like they would lose in the final to Boston. And then in season two, they actually, maybe I should do checks and X's. In season two, Montreal actually did lose in the final. I have that video on the channel where basically Montreal lost to Montreal, by which I mean the Montreal-born, Montreal area native Mike Bossy, who scored. And I'm not too good at remembering too many numbers specific, but I'm quite sure Bossy had 15 goals and 24 points in 12 playoff games. And he kind of struggled with that brief 24 game regular season in season two as well. So it was interesting just to see that. Well, it was like as if in real life he had gotten hot at the right time. And so the Montreal native Mike Bossy almost single handedly at least got it going. And then the 82 Islanders picked up from there and ended up winning the championship for season two for the League of Champions and Presidents of Shootout Hockey. I'm jumping ahead though because after this I did a kill the power play. I'll go KTPP 68-69. This was a condensed season, and I don't like replaying history straight. I like kind of like Seals Fan 1 does and some other replayers as well, I would imagine. I like mixing and matching and changing things up a little bit, and sometimes I like both actually. I like the alternatives, but for this one here, what I did was I made a North Division and a South Division, and I split up the West Division 6 teams, the expansion teams, put 3 in the North and 3 in the South, and then I had 3 original 6 teams in the North, and therefore 3 original 6 teams in the South. And Montreal ended up winning that one, although I remember, again, they were almost eliminated by St. Louis in the semifinal, and then freaking Boston extended them to their limit in 69, which seems very conceivable, much like the 71 Bruins. The 69 Bruins was a team that was, 1 year removed from a Stanley Cup championship in real life. But anyway, for this one, it was a condensed, I think, 32-game season, 12-team league, and Montreal did emerge the victor from that one. Might have been a 30-game season. I'm trying to think how I did that now. 12, 20. Anyway, yeah, 20 within the division and 12 outside of it. So 32. After this, it was, I took a break mid-season too, actually. I remember I sat down one day just because I was in the mood to play something other than shootout, and so I pulled out Mike Owens Quick Play Pro Hockey, and thought, I'll just play a few games on a Sunday, and that led to 15, and then 8 the next day, or 8 the first day and 15 the next day, something like that. And it ended up being a full regular season replay of the 1947-48 regular season. In real life, the Toronto Maple Leafs won this one, and in real life, the Montreal Canadiens. So excluding this, which didn't happen until after this anyway, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, again, that's right. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, sorry, 4. Again, season 2 is messing me up here. This is the shootout, great teams of the past, League of Champions and Presidents, season 2. Okay. But before that, 3 out of 4. Montreal have won championships for 3 out of 4. Hockey Unreal started right about here, thereabouts. And so since then, again, now I have to carry season 2 forward, even further carry the 2. So season 2, again, they were destroyed. A tornado by the name of Bossy, number 22, just tore through them in Game 7. He got the ball rolling, actually, and then again, it was a team effort as well. I think it was Thomas Janssen scored in a penalty shot. Again, the game's up on the channel. So take the loss. After that, there was, and I'm gonna get some of these out of order here. There was the Redemption League, and for this Redemption League as well, and this was also with Mike Owens Quick Play Pro Hockey game. And for this one here, it was the 1970 Montreal Canadiens. And that was a team that didn't make the playoffs, but a team that had 92 points, which for a long time, at least predating the era of the extra point, was really about as many points as you could get and not get into the playoffs. 92 points. This was in an era when 100 was considered an excellent season. So the fact that 92 and you didn't make the playoffs just spoke to the imbalance of there being the West division and Montreal being in the East. And then the next, I think it was the season after the next season, they moved Chicago, and they corrected after the fact. But so what I did again, Redemption League, that was sort of the theme by it. And I found some other teams too that had really good regular seasons, had really good teams, maybe because they played in the era of the Islanders' 4 straight championships, or the Oilers winning, 4 out of 5 and 5 out of 7, they were good team, very good if not great teams is kind of, what I based this league around. Anyway, the 70 Montreal Canadiens, they were at least in the hunt for like 2/3 of a 32-game regular season schedule to finish first overall. And the writing should have been on the wall, because down the stretch, the final 6 or 8 or 10 of those 32 games, Montreal, I can't remember the exact numbers, but I know that they ran up a losing streak. Like, they had sort of run up a losing record, if you're just, and a pretty bad one at that, if you're just looking at their final 10 or so games of the regular season. So maybe the writing should have been on the wall for another video that's on this channel. The 83 Boston Bruins beat them out in 5 games. So this is another X. Season 2 was an X, but it's an X I'm carrying forward. And in and around there as well, I had the 1924-25 NHL full season replay. This is only a 30-game season, so it felt like it was kind of right in my wheelhouse. 6 teams, 30 games. I'm a completionist, I guess, kind of, and I'm also slow. So when it comes to these things, I've got the bones thing now that's taking me forever and a day. But what I mean to say by that is that this one, it seemed like a manageable project length, which is another playlist and series that I have to get back to, playing manageable project replay lengths. This one seemed to manage itself being only a 30-game season and 6 teams, and I ended up going mostly exclusively with Blue Zone and only using Status Pro Hockey, the longer playing Status Pro Hockey for some of the playoff games. When the leagues crossed over, because Montreal, historically, they won the NHL championship. The Stanley Cup was won by the final non-NHL team to win the Stanley Cup in the Cup's history, the 1925 Victoria Cougars. And I'm not going to get into a debate or an argument over it, but I'm completely neutral when I say this as well. I really think, again, given what little that I saw, that should count as like the Detroit Red Wings' first ever Stanley Cup. Right, it was the Cougars and then the Detroit Falcons, and then the Detroit Red Wings. There were Red Wings roster players, more than a few at that, I'm quite sure, who actually played for the Cougars. So anyway, Detroit West won the Cup in real life, and also in my replay as well. Now, in this one too, I will say that the Hamilton Tigers were kind of the team I was going for this one. The Hamilton Tigers, it's hockey's 8 men out type story. I mean, not quite. There's no scandal, and it's different, but they went on strike, and so they were suspended from the playoffs. They couldn't play for the Cup. And they had finished first overall in the NHL that season, had the Hamilton Tigers. So Canadians, Tigers, sure, I'll have them both here. Anyway, Montreal ended up being eliminated in my replay of this full regular season, by the Ottawa Senators in round 1 of the playoffs. So it didn't really matter. They were upset in the playoffs again. So this is another X for the Canadians, even if I was kind of going for the Tigers more with this one. And they ended up losing to the Victoria Cougars anyway. So after this, let me see here. There was, I know there have to be some in between. 47-48 full season replay with shootout. I know I'm missing some in between, but I'll put this one here now while I'm thinking of it. Montreal missed the playoffs in real life, though they only missed the playoffs by a little bit in real life. In my replay, they fell off a cliff mid-season and just never could, climb their way out of the giant hole that they had dug themselves into. So this is another miss for them. 62-63, I've called it the secret season because I kept it entirely offline in a paper notebook for the entirety of the regular season. Didn't post anything online. Only dropped a couple hints here and there to a couple of people. This one here, and it was with Doc Hockey. And again, Montreal got all the way. So here they missed the playoffs by a mile. Here they were eliminated in Game 7 in the semifinal and the Stanley Cup semifinal. And I know I'm leaving one out in between. Aren't I? Okay, well there is the Bones Eternal Six, which although mathematically I'm just doing a short season for that one. I'm calling it like an NFL season with NHL teams. Redrafted NHL. Again, I like playing around with stuff, parameters. Anyway, so for the 68, it's not looking good. It's really like I would be, even though again mathematically they're not out of playoff contention, it's still the regular season part of it. It's getting close to the end, and they are behind, well out of the playoffs. So they're pretty much eliminated from that. It's not looking good for them. And anyway, for any in between, let's just say if I've left any out here, I'm enough of a Habs fan that I would know if if they'd won. They're never going to win and me not remember it. I really don't think. So this could kind of double as I did this for the Boston Bruins a while ago. I was joking around, of course, like I like to do, and just make fun of myself. And I was like, is the universe trying to tell me something? Especially with this one. I don't know what I was expecting because I think Toronto would have beaten Montreal in the Cup final anyway. But something just got me to thinking after this Game 7. I walked away from that game. The ending was a bit abrupt. The video was already longer than it needed to be, probably like this one is now. And I just got to thinking, like, Montreal is just, for a team that, again, historically speaking, in shorter, smaller leagues, right? When the NHL had 6 teams and the NHL had 12 teams, the kinds of leagues that I like to replay, Montreal won a little more often than they do on this desktop. So, yeah, not that I would ever think or suspect that anyone suspects me of trying to rig it for Montreal, but let's just say that if that's what I'm trying to do, I'm doing an awful job of it because, as you can see here, they this is wrong. I just noticed a mistake now. Just kind of a small one at that. I'm off by a year. I did the 46-47 replay with Mike Owens, Quick Play Pro Hockey, a season that historically Toronto won. But Montreal eliminated them in the playoffs in this one. And part of the universe is trying to tell me something is just how much Boston outdid themselves in this replay. A replay that otherwise was very statistically quite accurate, but Milt Schmidt went into beast mode, as the hockey guy would say, and he really carried the Bruins in their back through some games, through some really productive games, and then they had to play Detroit in the playoffs, but there was a goodwill. Best of 7 one-off after that, and that went 7 games as well, unsurprisingly. So again, I've probably left some out, but this video is about 20 minutes now. I just wanted to talk a little bit about as a Habs fan, and again, this is completely inspired by is another video that I'll probably get around to later today. That again, I watched something really inspirational about game design, sports sim game design, specifically not hockey, but a great video that I will try to remember to shout out a lot later on when I'm making that next video, my next design video. But I just wanted to take some time to rant and ramble about how on this desktop, Montreal kind of sucks. And you could even call it, because I think I'm going to include something like this in the title, you might even call it the Hockey Unreal Curse. Because what do all these wins have in common and all these losses have in common? Pre-Hockey Unreal channel, post-Hockey Unreal channel. Since I started Hockey Unreal, this Habs fan has seen the Montreal Canadiens lose time and time again or whatever. So anyway, yeah, I just any time and consideration that you give to anything like this, of course, it's never expected, but yes, it's always appreciated. And yeah, I just wanted to, again, just take some time to rant and ramble and garble mumble about how Montreal sucks on this desktop, and perhaps it is the Hockey Unreal Curse. All right, cheers, thanks, and bye for now.